The MCLEAN Foundation empowers communities in the Eel River Valley and Humboldt County by providing funding, leadership, and support. It is truly the legacy of Mel and Grace MCLEAN. Mel and Grace MCLEAN were married on Christmas Eve, 1937. Like most young couples at the time, they struggled through the Great Depression, potatoes and beans often the extent of their diet. Hard work eventually paid off, and Mel became a consummate businessman. His grocery chain, founded in 1946 in Everett, Washington, included real estate holdings and supermarkets, which he later sold after 40 successful years. Meanwhile, Mel was partners with Stanley Schaefer in the Lindsay Lumber Company in southern Humboldt County, California. Eel River Sawmill Incorporated was born in 1963 when he purchased a lumber mill near Rio Dell, California, and began reinvesting and expanding. Mel MCLEAN's personality and perseverance came through when Eel River Sawmills was wiped out in the 1964 flood. His partner was gun-shy about reinvesting after the flood, but Mel and his wife Grace were determined to rebuild, so they got to work and built one of the West Coast's finest lumber producing operations.
In 1964, we had a so-called 1,000-year flood that destroyed the mill there at Metropolitan. The river was diverted and came into the mill yard and took the logs and the sawmill downstream. Mel and Stanley decided to rebuild after the flood, and it was quite an undertaking as they had to start from the ground up. Mel felt a real need to create jobs in this county and to bring the workers back in as they were prior to the flood.
Well, it was either to go down the road with a sack on your back or hard work and start it over again, which we did, which he decided to do.
His perseverance would show up years later, as Mel would operate at a loss temporarily rather than lose his employees or see his community lose jobs.
You know, Mel and Grace felt that Eel River Sawmills was for our community in southern Humboldt. It wasn't for any other areas, it was for our community. And Mel ran that mill weekends, nights, regardless of markets, regardless of conditions. We had a lot of serious discussions on strategy, but his strategy was to make sure there's paychecks for our employees. And that's a great philosophy. We didn't have shareholders to worry about. We had banks to worry about, but we didn't have any numbers to really hit. And I feel the same way with the foundation. We're doing the same thing that Mel had there. We're helping the community out in a little different way, but that was such a great thing to do. We had a lot of people talking about trying to buy into our mills and stuff. Mel wanted to stay independent as a small operator.
Mel MCLEAN also invested in the North Coast chip export business and built the Fairhaven Power Plant, both on Humboldt Bay's Samoa Peninsula.
It's just been a great project for the area, for the mills, and for Eel River Sawmills. We had choices of entering into a short-term contract, long-term contract. I remember talking to Mel about short-term contracts because of all the uncertainties with our industry, but Mel wanted to go as long as possible, and Mel was 70-some years old at the time, 76 years old in fact. But I remember we selected 30 years, Mel wanted 40, we did talk him into the 30-year. Gene Lucas, who was our accountant at the time, wanted to go shorter, and I did too. So here's Mel entering into a 30-year contract when he's 76 years old. It's quite a story. It complemented the sawmill business in a very positive way, and of course helps the environment tremendously.
Mel was known as a tough boss and an excellent businessman. Having no children, Mel and Grace MCLEAN counted their business and their community as their family.
Mel would go around and he would talk to everybody and introduce himself and talk to them, even the new employees. And it was really refreshing to see because we were his family. And during the weekends and especially at night sometimes, we'd take the log suppliers out, we'd take the truckers out. Mel's family was the Eel River Valley and our business.
Today, with jobs in the timber industry nowhere near as plentiful as they were when Eel River Sawmills was in business, The foundation feels that helping replace those jobs and their financial impact is a priority. Major goals of the MCLEAN Foundation now include the Fortuna Community Health Center, the Legacy Community Center, and local economic development.
Well, in the 70s and 80s and early 90s, Eel River Sawmills was a predominant employer in the valley. We had over 500 employees, and the employment level in this valley was very strong because of the sawmills and the lumber industry. As timber became scarcer, the jobs disappeared, and eventually most of the mills were closed. Mel was very concerned about the valley, and we think we need economic development. In fact, we know we need economic development in the valley. It's not going to be take the case that the form that it was in the past, of course, but we're working with the city now to promote economic development here, hired an economic development coordinator, looking at incubators, advertising our area to try to get young people and older people jobs here. We'll never replace the timber jobs, but we have to do something more than we're doing now.
One of MCLEAN Foundation's big goals is addressing the healthcare crisis in the Eel River Valley.
The healthcare in this valley used to be a real asset to the community. We had good doctors, a good hospital. We could recruit people here. One of the reasons I came up here with my family, young family, is that they had a great hospital and great doctors. Right now, the system is in peril. In 2015, things have changed. We have a new healthcare law that's impacting all the doctors and all the hospitals. We have a hospital that's aging that needs to be retrofitted in the next 15 years. If it's not, it will be closed. The recruitment of doctors is very difficult under the model that the government is proposing right now.
As primary care providers have retired or relocated from the Eel River Valley, there has not been adequate access to care in this area for many years. The MCLEAN Foundation is looking for partners to help build a new healthcare center in Fortuna, in the heart of the Eel River Valley. Open Door Community Health Centers have a well-established and successful model of healthcare that has been delivering services to the residents of the North Coast for more than 45 years. Fortuna Community Health Center will be Open Door's 13th site. Because Open Door is a federally qualified health center, it receives higher medical reimbursement rates from the government. This, along with student loan forgiveness, enables it to recruit new doctors and retain existing medical providers. The MCLEAN Foundation has purchased land for Open Door to build its new modern medical facility and is contributing capital and staff to assist with the fundraising efforts. This valley is at a critical juncture in providing the quality of life that is essential to the well-being of its residents. When completed, the new clinic will bring much-needed doctors, equipment, and medical services to the Eel River Valley. Another big goal for the foundation is the Legacy Community Center.
Mel and Grace and Jean had a vision for a community center here in the valley. We talked about it for many, many years. We're looking at a site right now that we've purchased for this community center. It's going to be for the seniors and the juniors. It could house a library, it could house a skate park, possible pool, possible gyms. It's a great site. It's 36 acres next to Newburgh Park. We envision that being a community center, the Mel and Grace and Jean Lucas Community Center.
The lives of Mel and Grace MCLEAN continue to bless the community they loved through the MCLEAN Foundation, empowering people and strengthening communities.